Where was Oswald when the shots were fired? Well, these men have just witnessed the assassination of the president. They are co-workers of Oswald, photographed by Tom Dillard of the Dallas Morning News, photographer, in the fifth-floor windows within a minute after the shots were heard.
Walter, here in Dallas, Eddie Barker has re-interviewed those men who watched the tragedy from the window just below me. Later on, we'll be hearing their own story of the assassination itself. But for now, we wanted to know just what Oswald was doing and where he was doing it through the morning of November 22nd, 1963. We spoke first to this man, Harold Norman.
That particular morning, 3 or 4 of us were standing by the window, and Oswald came over and he said, what's everybody looking at and what's everybody excited about? And so we told him we were waiting on the president. So he just snurged up and walked away.
Our next witness from the fifth-floor window, James Jarman, Jr.
I was talking to him around about 10 o'clock. On the outside of the building, some people had gathered. And he asked me what was they gathering around out there for. And I told him that the president was supposed to come by that morning. And he asked me what time, and I didn't know what time it would be, but some of the people had started gathering around. And he asked me which way would the president be coming. And I told him. And so he said, oh, yeah? And I said, yeah. And then he turned around and walked off.
The last man known to have seen Lee Harvey Oswald before the assassination was another co-worker, Charles Gibbons. Mr. Gibbons saw Oswald here on the 6th floor.
Well, he was standing about the middle way of the building on the 6th floor.
But what was he doing there?
Well, he was just standing there looking with his orders in his hand.
And what did you say to him?
I said, say, fella, it's lunchtime. You going downstairs? And he said, no. I said, close the gates on the elevator when you get down. Well, I was, kind of excited, wanted to see the parade, so when I got downstairs, I really forgot it. I just rushed on off and went on out to lunch.
This would be about what time?
Well, about 1 or 2 minutes after 12.
Holland turns to the witness who did see the rifle in the window. Amos Ewins.
Can you point it to me?
Yes, sir, right there.
He's one of the few to recall where the president was when he heard the first shot.
Approximately in the position it was when you heard the first shot.
He placed it at a specific point in time, just as the president passed a black and white sign.
Which sign was it?
Right there.
It's right there.
Tell you which highways are which.
Great. The U.S. highways.
Yes, sir.
And the car is now in approximately the position it was?
It was just right there at the embankment right there. Where it's about where it's at now when the first shot sounded out.
That's when the first shot
speeded up, and then more shots came out.
Right.
And it was still kind of killed, and then after a while I seen a shadow.
Amos Ewins recalls the same sequence of shots.
You heard 3 altogether.
Like, President been hit. They've been hit. He's been hit. You can hear everybody say he's been hit.
Over the years, Tina's movie has been all but ignored by JFK researchers. In it, she captures the limousine as it turns from Houston onto Elm Street. More importantly, she may have captured President Kennedy reacting to the first shot that was fired that day, several seconds before Abraham Zapruder had even begun to film. Her film captured the limousine as it passed in front of the Daltex building, which was across the street from the Texas School Book Depository. As the limousine makes that turn, President Kennedy begins to wave to the crowd. But then something rather strange happened. He starts to wave to the crowd, but then within half a second, he pulls his hand back and balls it into a fist. Please watch closely and keep in mind that this is in extreme slow motion. Each frame lasts for about 1/18 of a second. And then something else happened that was pretty strange. The film was damaged, and approximately 7 frames were destroyed. It was during those 7 missing frames that President Kennedy fell sharply to his left. Because the frames were deleted, we aren't able to see it happen, but we can easily see him straighten back up. And this is not an optical illusion. Compare President Kennedy's motion with Jackie and the other people in the car. He's the only one who reacts this way. In the museum, Tina Towner said that no one in her family knows when or how those frames were destroyed. So if Tina's family didn't damage the film, then it must have happened while it was in the FBI's possession. Over the years, I've examined every available film to try to find one that would give us a better look at JFK's reaction then. I almost found it in the film taken by Robert Hughes, which also captured the limousine as it made that turn onto Elm Street. It was taken from a greater distance, but the original frames could be blown up and would very likely show JFK's movement then. But guess what happened? The film was damaged at exactly the same point in time that Tina's film was damaged. So it appears that the FBI destroyed frames in both the Towner and the Hughes films, which depicted the same fraction of a second in which President Kennedy reacted to that first shot. Now, if that wasn't done deliberately, then at the very least, it proves that they were certainly interested in those frames, enough so that they stopped the film to examine them long enough to let them burn up.
Kind of sequence. So that's what we tried first.
I'm sure there were 4 shots.
How many shots did you hear?
I heard 3. The first and second was further apart than the second and the third. In other words, that was a bang and a bang bang like that, you know.
Well, how many shots did you hear?
3.
In how long a period of time?
Oh, I'd say just about like this, you know, boom, then boom, and boom, something similar to that.
I would say bang, bang, bang. There's definitely 4 shots.
Well, just 3 quick bursts, like bang, bang, bang.
Austin-based Image Trends used this machine and state-of-the-art software to restore them both and others.
There really is somebody in there and they're moving around.
The work went into a National Geographic special showing new details about that day, dispelling conspiracy theories about someone under a nearby railroad bridge, and
we found out that we could shoot the film, capture the film at 10 times the normal exposure and look into the shadows and see that there was no shooter on the grassy knoll.
The investigation also shows what likely happened to a mysterious third bullet. The first shot fired hit a traffic light.
Consequently, we went back, looked at images of the traffic light. Sure enough, there was a hole in the traffic light.